Hello, I'm Ellie Drake, and you're watching Braveheart Women TV. Hello, everyone. You're watching Braveheart Women TV. I'm Ellie Drake, and this is your global collaboration show. If you've experienced unconditional love, you felt its amazing essence, and you likely want more of it. So what is unconditional love, and how can we learn to live from that space? With me to explore this topic, we have Young and the Restless star, actress Kate Linder, communication expert for Landmark Education, Josselyne Herman-Saccio. I always do that. Speaker and author Barbara Khozam, and psychotherapist and best-selling author Dr. Jill Murray. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks.
So who wants to talk about what is unconditional love?
Barbara.
I do.
Yes.
I'll go first because I have a handle on this. So, and I only have a handle on it because I didn't have it for so long.
Yes.
Was single. I only got married 4 years ago when I was 29. And
Yes.
Again.
And what I was doing when I was dating, I don't know if any of you else did this, but I created the list. You know,
Yes.
the list, and my man needs to be 6'2" and blah, 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 blah. But that's conditions. I was creating a conditional love situation. Then I read a great little book called Surrendered Single.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know, 75 cents, but you know, $3.99 plus shipping. But
Yeah,
anyway,
right.
so
Good investment.
it said, throw away the list. And what it did for me was it opened up my options.
That's interesting because most women do the opposite. We
That's
make
right.
lists because we think that's what we're supposed to do.
That's
So,
right.
Yeah.
So I started dating men that didn't fit what looked like my ideal man. And about 2 months later, I met the man that I married.
Well, that's a very interesting point. I do have to say, though, you know, I have a client who says that she didn't make a list, just like you, and all she said was that she just wanted to have a warm, fuzzy relationship. And then a few weeks later, there was something behind her door. She opened the door, and there was this warm, fuzzy dog, you know? And so that's what she created.
You got to be specific.
You know what I mean?
If you're making a list,
Yes.
be specific at least.
You know, yeah.
A pet, really a dog, is the perfect unconditional love
So
relationship.
see, there was no conditions, and there came unconditional.
There you go.
You know, when your dog is sleeping in the room with you and you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and you step on the dog and you're going, oh, I'm sorry. And the dog goes, oh, it's you, how fabulous. I mean,
right, yeah.
unconditionally, they just love you all the time.
That's right, that's right. But let's talk about humans for a second.
All right.
And that
I think one of the things when you said, you know, we've all experienced unconditional love, the biggest thing for me when I'm being loved unconditionally is that I'm accepted for exactly how I am and exactly how I'm not, and someone's not trying to change me or fix me or have me be different. And I think love and acceptance are pretty much the same thing. If you can accept things the way they are about someone, you can love them.
So you're talking about receiving unconditional love right now.
And actually delivering it.
And
Because
giving.
if you look at what's between you and loving somebody unconditionally, it's something that you have a thought about that should be different about that person.
Yeah.
But why should you love somebody unconditionally who's bad to you?
Exactly.
You can accept that they are bad to you. You can distance yourself from them. I deal a lot with domestic violence and a lot with teenage domestic violence, and when these girls go, but I love him.
Yes.
It makes me
But
crazy.
in that moment, though, they think that they love him, but really that's not unconditional love. I mean, I feel like the essence of unconditional love is love, whereas the essence of love itself could sometimes be fear, abandonment, control, not wanting to be rejected, you know.
Or some sort of a feeling, and if we associate love with a feeling, you know, that glee kind of feeling you get, and you think that that's what love is, then you're misconstruing what love is. And that could have been, you know, the pizza you ate for lunch. Could be that feeling.
What if you love someone and then you find, I know this has happened, I've read about this, you love someone and then you find out that they're a mass murderer. And you didn't know.
This happened to you?
No,
That's horrible.
I'm a soap.
You know,
No. Right. Or maybe, you know, they've done something really terrible.
Right, well,
but you
then
didn't know
unconditional
about
love
that.
to me-
So it's unconditional, so you're going to still love this person?
No. Unconditional love would mean unconditionally love yourself enough to leave.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's love then? What's our definition of
That's
love?
right. I think that goes back
Well,
to how you
unconditional
define
love in that moment is not necessarily giving it, it's being it. It's not always about giving it or receiving it, it's also about being it. If I'm being unconditional love, that means I have to give that to myself. And so
And when you talk about that space, learning to live from that space is not about you loving someone or them loving you. It's being a space of unconditional love where people can be how they are and how they're not. Just because you love someone doesn't mean you have to live with them.
That is correct. And unconditional love in itself is boundaryless, yet in your interchanges with people, we do require authentic boundaries.
Yes. That's right. That's right. I think that, I hate to make this like an equation and spoil the fun here, but
no, that's fine.
I think that if you have trust plus respect, that equals love. Okay, so if you have a relationship in which you trust the person, let's say even unconditionally trust the person, and they respect you and you respect them, I think that's what makes for a loving relationship. And I also think that love is, you know, the way you treat somebody, the way they treat you. So if they're not treating you with trust and respect, and you have no reason to trust or respect them, why would you be unconditionally loving them?
Although I totally can understand exactly what you're saying, and I'm not in any way disagreeing with you, I look at it differently because unconditional love for me is like a muscle that I can build for myself, and it is irrelevant of what someone else is doing to me or about me or to themselves.
Right.
I can love people regardless of what they do. People are not what they do. People are not what they have. You know, people are so much bigger than what they've done.
I think people's character are what they do, though. And so if you don't respect their character, or their character is negligent, or their character is felonious, to, you know, talk about Kate's example, why would I want to unconditionally love them? I can unconditionally accept that they are that person and I don't have to be with them or anywhere near them. But why would I unconditionally love them?
Well, you can also love someone, but maybe not like them. I can love, let's say you love your husband, your spouse, but you don't maybe like what they're doing that particular day.
That means you have to have enough bedrooms for you guys to sleep differently, separately. So here's an example that I've actually experienced. So I adopted one of my sons, Maximus, when he was 6.5 years old from another country. He'd been in an orphanage since he was 2 months old, so he'd never had a family. And I remember prior to adopting him, all I kept saying to everybody is, I am looking forward to the experience of giving unconditional love. And of course the universe said, well, let's test you. So when I adopted him and we brought him here, always listening. So when we adopted Maximus, you know, we bring this child to our home, 6.5 years old, and he had a million really bad habits. And every time I tried to give unconditional love, I had shortcomings. It was never enough. I was never, not for him, but for me. I always had shortcomings. I would always fail. So then I said, instead of me trying to give unconditional love, why not just take the focus off of that and be unconditional love?
That's right.
So then I started focusing on loving myself, loving my life, loving the emotion of anger that I was having in that moment, loving every component of my life, and then I was able to see that as an overflow, he was receiving more unconditional love. So it's not always about giving.
I agree.
It's
and when
about
you say about being
in that space.
A space, you actually be the space for unconditional love. And people get to show up in that space, and they don't have to change, they don't have to be different, and you don't have to be different with your reactions. You don't have to make your own reactions wrong. You can allow yourself the space to be however you are in that moment. That is unconditional love.
Yes.
You are being unconditional love then, which is different than giving or receiving unconditional love.
Yes,
is that what you're saying?
I believe so. I believe that it's a deeper aspect. And for those people who are in a bad relationship, it's about being unconditional love for themselves and leave it.
I agree completely. And I think women in particular have the issue of, oh, well, when I lose weight, I'll be good enough to find that man, or when I get this job, when I do this, and they have all these conditions on themselves.
Right.
But until they get rid of that and accept themselves, they're not going to find anyone that's
like right now. Accept yourself right now, because that's all you
Well,
really
you
have.
have to love yourself first. If you don't love yourself first, how can you love someone else?
Exactly. And if you don't love yourself unconditionally, you'll never know unconditional love, which means you'll never be able to really receive it.
That's correct.
So one of the most powerful, sentences I've ever told myself is, I love myself unconditionally, and then really breathe it into myself and not try to deny it after I've said that.
Right. I agree with you. I think that's a really powerful message. I'm going to take that message away with this. Thank you.
Very good. Well, thank you. Then, if that's the case, we did it.
Yes.
Anyone else receive a gem today? Raise your hand. Did you receive a gem today?
I did.
Let me tap into my hypey motivational speaker site. That was from years ago. All right. Thank you so much. That's our show for today. Join us for our next global collaboration show when we'll explore why evolve. In the meantime, be sure to go to braveheartwomencore.com and find out what the Core Inner Circle is all about. Core members, you can also access Josselyne's, oh my gosh, it's in 2 sentences on the teleprompter. Don't edit this. Let them know I'm not perfect. I love myself unconditionally. That's right. Josselyne's exclusive video, The Power of Language to Create a Life You Love, in your Core member section. We love hearing from you, so remember to share your questions and comments in the Braveheart Women discussion boards. And finally, on behalf of everyone here on the show today, thank you for watching Braveheart Women TV. Be inspiration in action.